I can send the link afterward.
Oh yeah, true.
Send the link to it. What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
It's Saturday night, and Saturday nights mean. What do Saturday nights mean? It's time for. Do you need me to move over?
What's that?
Oh, something white on your shirt.
Do I need to move over?
Yeah, because you keep bumping me.
Yeah, because
you keep
I
trying
feel
to
like
push
I'm
me
out of
over.
frame.
Okay, come on. What's up, everybody? It's Saturday night.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
Have a conversation after dark.
Pretty unprepared here.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, listen, it's a living room show.
It is.
Or a bedroom show.
Most of the time. Sometimes it's not.
Take it however you want to take it. Listen, we're Oliver and Denise, and we are passionate about relationships and seeing relationships thrive. If you are new to this is Have a Conversation After Dark, where we have conversations about all kinds of stuff. Sometimes they are quote unquote taboo topics. Sometimes they are risque topics. Maybe those two things mean the same thing. Maybe they don't. And often they're just topics that we feel like people should be having conversations about. They're topics that often there isn't any conversation about.
Yeah.
They're topics that sometimes our clients are dealing with, and they never had conversations about it. And so we believe, and we say this at the beginning of every show, we believe that conversation is a catalyst for growth. It is a catalyst for learning, and it is a catalyst for bonding. That's going to bother you, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. Catalyst for growth, catalyst for learning, catalyst for bonding. So that's what this is about. Listen, if you're watching this right now as it is live, or if you are watching the replay, we ask one simple thing of you, and that is to hit the share button and share it with your network. That's it. hit the share button, share it with your network. The beautiful thing about these conversations is not so much the conversation we have as much as it is the interaction that we have with the people in the comments.
Yeah.
So share this with
Share
someone,
away.
get them in here so we can have this conversation. If you saw the graphic, the title, the topic for tonight's discussion is I'm tired of being the one who always initiates.
Hmm.
I'm tired of being the one that always initiates. This is kind of a spinoff from a conversation that we had based on the media mixdown segment of our relationship show, which is Inside the Relationship. So if you're not familiar with Inside the Relationship, check out Inside the Relationship. It comes on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this conversation tonight is kind of a spinoff on the conversation that we were having that came out of
Yeah.
the media mixdown on Thursday. So the questions that were asked were this in if you look at the show description. Um, who initiates sex? Is it a problem if only one person is continually initiating? Is that a problem? Does it matter in your relationship? The other question is what happens when there are when expectations are not met or when
Expectations around sex.
right or promises are not kept.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? So that's what we're talking about. So we're talking about initiation. Who initiates? Is it a problem if somebody keeps initiating?
Hmm.
If one person is always doing the initiating, is that a problem? Now, here's the overarching question for all of those other questions is that a conversation that you ever had?
Right.
Have you ever had a conversation with your spouse to outline the initiation process?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying, well, you do it on Monday, I do it on Tuesday, but I'm just saying, have you had well, it could have been that actually, but have you had any kind of conversation around initiation? Because here's what we often see. There's no conversation around initiation of sex until there's a problem.
Until there's a problem. Yep.
Until
Until it's an
somebody,
issue.
right, until somebody feels like, hey, I'm doing it too much,
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be, it's not, there's some level of discrepancy.
Yeah.
That's when it comes up in conversation.
Yeah. I agree.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Does it matter?
I think it only matters. Um, I think every couple is relative to every couple.
Mm-hmm.
For some couples, it may not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't hear myself.
Go ahead. Keep going.
For some couples, it may not ever be an issue. Like I said on I think Wednesday or whatever day that was.
Mm-hmm.
Some couples it might be like, hey, as long as it's we getting it in, I don't care.
Okay.
You initiate all the time, that's fine with me. I initiate all the time, I don't care as long as we getting it in.
Mm-hmm.
But then for another couple, it might be, I don't feel like I should have to initiate every single time because that makes me feel possibly they might be thinking that makes me feel like you don't desire me and I'm
Mm,
always the one initiating, so what does that mean? You
okay.
don't want me? That might be what's another couple thinks.
Interesting.
I'm
Okay.
assuming.
So,
That's what I think.
and I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you that question. Like, what do you think? What do you think that means?
Yeah,
Like,
maybe it means that to some people. Like, why? What is it? Why don't you ever initiate?
so this is this is a topic that we'll see how many people engage in the comments because this is kind of a I don't want to put my business out there kind of topic, but for those of you who are transparent enough, is there a problem if only one spouse is the one initiating?
And then you also have, and we talked about this before,
Mm-hmm.
you also have the couple where one person doesn't initiate often
Mm-hmm.
for fear of being rejected.
Yes.
Remember we talked about that?
We did talk about that.
Yep. And so that is another possibility.
We did talk about that. And
Mhm.
full transparency, that has been my issue
Yeah.
at
And
times.
we had to talk about that. And
That's
I
it.
was like, I don't want to be the one to initiate all of the time.
Yeah.
And you said that that's why.
Yep. There were times that I would not initiate
Mhm.
because, and actually a clip that's on social media
Mhm.
from that conversation.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to ever be in the position of receiving a no.
And I do not think that that is fair to me.
Okay.
And if there are other couples out there where that is the reason why, you
Hmm.
don't initiate, I don't think it's fair to the other spouse that has to initiate all of the time, only because the one that does not initiate does not want to ever be told no. That's unfair.
So sidebar conversation that I don't want to go down this road, but I just want to kind of throw this in there. Should and maybe this is a question that folk who are watching can answer because this won't put you out there too much. Should no ever be an answer?
Yeah. No can be an answer
Okay.
sometimes. I'm not saying always.
Hmm.
And sometimes no is taken, the answer no,
Hmm.
in my opinion and in my experience, has been taken advantage of. Saying no.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean by taken advantage of?
No,
Does it make sense?
I thought I did, but
What I
explain.
mean is sometimes people say no and there's not really a valid reason to say no.
Got you. So should it be no with explanation? It can't just be a blanket
I
no.
think it should be no with an explanation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was just wondering that. I was just
Yeah.
wondering that. That's a whole nother conversation
Yeah.
because that I'm gonna tell you right now, that issue sparks
Yeah,
significant
it does for sure.
controversy
Absolutely it does.
in terms of because what people will do is they will use you can always use a good thing to your advantage for a bad reason. Right? So let me give you an example,
Mhm.
right? So you have First Corinthians 7:4, whatever it is that verse is, right? Where it says your body doesn't belong to you, you
Mhm,
belong to.
mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
people will take that and use that in a negative way, saying you can never say
You're
no
right. Right, right, right.
under any circumstances,
Yeah,
right?
that's not what it
And
means.
that's not what it means. Now, here's the flip side of that. I personally do not believe that no should be, and this is unlike me to try to choose my words carefully, but I don't feel like no should be a consistent answer.
I agree. I agree with that. No should not be a consistent answer. No should not be out of spite.
No should not be out of spite. Okay.
Um no should not be eh, there's got to be a a valid reason and it should not be a consistent answer. I agree.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Missy. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. A lot of things could factor into the desire for sex to
To
be
be
one sided,
one-sided
and
and yes
yes
could
could be
be
an
an
answer.
answer.
What I'm assuming in that last part, you're saying, and yes, no can be an
No
answer.
can be an answer. Right,
Okay.
right, right, right.
So yeah, and here's the thing.
I agree.
I don't believe that I don't believe that yes should always take place. Although, although I admittedly have not initiated at times because I don't want to hear no.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
that's unfair.
but I don't believe that it's I dare say it's and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about that because I don't want to go down that road. That I dare say it's unrealistic for yes to always be an answer.
I agree. I
And
agree with that.
I'm not talking about just when you're sick and those obvious things. I'm talking about when everything is great and
Mhm.
you in tip top shape and there ain't no sickness or illness. I still don't know that it's realistic for yes to always be an answer.
Not always. Yeah, I agree.
I don't, and I honestly, if you ask me why, I can't tell you why. I don't know. Tired.
You don't think that people can be tired?
I do think that people can be tired, but the reason why I made that face is because there's certain things that, and everybody's different, right? So just like we joked about on Thursday, you can wake me up out of the grave, and I'm gonna be good. I ain't gonna be upset. I'm telling you, I
Ah.
could be in 6 feet deep, and I'm gonna dig my way out. But everybody's not like that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
some people, like you, are not you can't be awakened like
Do
that,
not wake me up.
right? So and so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's touchy. Now, hence why conversations need to happen,
Yes.
because often this don't come up until
Until an issue.
right something takes place.
Yeah.
So now back to the initiation thing, right? Let's say that it's there isn't. Well, you said in the beginning, as long there's some people who are like,
As long
as
as
long
it's
as sex
happening.
happens,
Yeah.
I'll initiate all day long. It don't
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
There's some people who are like, it feels like I'm doing all the work.
Mhm.
There's some people who, like you said, who feels like I'm not wanted.
Mhm.
So if I'm the one that keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, and you ain't never pushing, what does that say about me? Are you
Yeah.
attracted to me? Do you really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, here's my argument though, and I'm only doing this literally for the sake of being controversial. If a person always initiates
Mhm.
and the sex is outstanding,
Mhm.
how could they ever think that they're not wanted?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm not
don't
saying you
know.
got to have an answer to
I'm
that, but that's just me. You know,
I well, maybe in that instance they don't think that.
hold on. Can we get personal for a second? So hold on. Let me get Missy's comment. This gonna be good right here. Hold on. Missy said you could be out of sync too,
And if
and
it
if
is
it's unwanted,
unwanted, it could be a really bad experience. I agree
good point.
100%.
Good point.
Yep.
Good point.
That is true, true, true.
Let's take us for example, right? So there are times that I haven't initiated,
Mhm.
and that's the conversation we had. There are times I haven't initiated because I didn't want to be rejected.
Mhm.
You said that wasn't fair to you,
Mhm.
right? Now, did you feel not wanted, or why is it not fair to you?
It's not fair for you. What I'm saying is it's not fair for you to say that the reasons why you sometimes do not initiate is because you don't want me to ever say no.
Hmm.
What's not fair about that
Hmm.
is that sometimes I will have to say no.
Okay.
And I feel like it's unfair for me to not be able to say no because
Okay.
you think because you don't want to be rejected. That's unfair because sometimes I will say no.
Hmm.
That's what I mean when I say it's unfair.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So never mind, because it won't fit what I was going to say. What I was, because you said some people, if they're always initiating, they may feel like, does this person want me?
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily you've ever felt like that. It's just you don't want to be in a position where you feel like you can't say no.
Right. That's what's
Got it.
unfair.
Got it. Okay.
That's what's unfair.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Now listen. See, that's why these conversations are important.
Conversations. Yeah.
Um, that's why these conversations are important.
Yeah.
Now, um, for those of you who are married that are watching, is this a conversation you've ever had?
Mhm.
How about we do that? Because I know a lot of people not willing to put their business out on Front Street. So this is a safe question. Is this a conversation that you have had with your spouse? Yes or
Mhm.
no? Have you
Yeah.
had a conversation around initiation,
Right.
how to even it up, or whether it's uneven or anything like that? Have you had that conversation?
Because honestly, if the conversation has never been had,
Hmm.
maybe the person that does not initiate
Hmm.
is thinking that everything is cool.
Mm.
Like, oh, they're not saying nothing, so
That's a good
you
point.
know what I mean?
That's a good point. And we've seen resentment. We've seen
Yeah.
resentment in that area
Hmm.
because the other person ain't even thinking that there's an issue.
That there's an
Mitzi
issue.
said, "Yep."
Hmm.
She's having that conversation. So yeah, that's
Good.
true.
Very
Some people
good,
are
Mitzi.
thinking like, "Where this is coming out of left field. What are you
Yeah.
upset about?"
I
Like,
never knew there was a problem.
you know what I'm saying? You initiate, bing bang boom, fireworks. Like we never thought it was no problem.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now how and we're kind of getting away from what we this is not an advice show. You want to get advice, you got to come to the Thursday night show. But we're going to kind of do a little bit here.
Hmm.
Here's my question to you. How do you even it out, for lack of a better word? Because I don't think it's ever even. But how do you even it out? If somebody's initiating all the time and they don't want to initiate all the time.
So, babe, I love it. Our lovemaking is great.
Hmm.
I just want to I like it when you do initiate, and I wish that you would initiate more often, because when you do initiate, it makes me feel like you want me.
Hmm.
And I like that feeling.
Hmm.
That's how I think the conversation should go.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that in a second. Shout out to Gabriel in the comments.
Hi,
Gabriel, so we
Gabriel.
just talked about this a little while ago, but I'm
What
gonna go back
about
to
this
this.
verse? The wife's, yeah,
The wife's body
does
does
not
not
belong
belong
to
to her
her
alone.
alone, but also to her
Hmm.
husband. In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. Should I be able to say no and follow what the word says?
So
Yes.
yes is a quick answer to that question, right? So
Yes.
we were just talking about this a little while ago,
Hmm.
where I was saying that people sometimes use this verse in in a negative way,
Yeah.
saying that okay, what this verse means is that you don't have no control no more, so you got to
Right.
say
You're
yes,
right.
and that's just not what this verse is saying.
So, I think that where people sometimes take this verse out of context
Hmm.
is they'll say that,
Hmm.
and you know, um the person that needs to say no, I'll say needs to say no, like, legit. It may not even be like they're physically in pain. I got a headache, I'm hurting physically, but maybe even mentally or even emotionally, they're just not there.
Hmm.
I don't think that it's fair, and I don't think that this verse means, well, you got to suck that up too and go ahead because your body is not your own.
Hmm.
I don't believe that. I
Yes,
don't.
I agree. Now here's the other side of that.
The other side of that is, though, that you cannot take advantage of that.
That's what I was about to say.
Absolutely.
That's the
Absolutely
other
not.
side of it,
Yeah.
right? So in those cases where those no's that you described are necessary,
Mhm.
they should come with an explanation.
Oh, definitely. You
Babe,
can't just say no.
right, yeah,
Not
babe, I
tonight.
can't, not right now. Listen, I got, my head is all over the place, or whatever the situation is, right?
Yeah.
I need a couple hours. I need, whatever. Can
Mhm.
tomorrow, whatever the case may be, right? Because then now what you're doing is you're including your spouse
Yeah.
in whatever level of recovery is necessary,
Yes.
and you're giving them something to
Yes.
look forward to. Hey babe, listen,
Right.
not today. Can you just give me 24 hours? I
Right.
just need to kind of flush some things out, do some things. I'll talk to you about it, whatever the case may be. Now they feel like they're a part of the thing, right?
Exactly. And I feel like even in that explanation,
Hmm.
that we have to be careful, though, like, how often am I saying that
Mm,
explanation? You
that's
know?
that's good. Yeah,
Like, how
because that can
often
become a cop out.
that can become a cop out.
That can become a cop out,
So
and that's where this verse comes
that's
into
where
play,
this verse
right?
comes into play.
You did not get married to continually be singular
Mm,
in your approach to intimacy.
yeah. That doesn't even, that's an oxymoron.
It is, but
singular
that's
in
but
your approach to intimacy.
that's what we do though.
But that's what we do
That's what we attempt to do.
sometimes. Mm,
That's what we
wow.
attempt to do. We attempt to be singular in our approach to intimacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for whatever reason, there are
Mm-hmm.
a whole host of reasons why we do that.
Yeah.
We've seen that in couples that we've coached. There's a whole host of reasons why you would do that.
Yeah.
But that's where this verse comes in. This verse is saying you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't operate in marriage like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, thank you for bringing that up because we definitely did mention that a little while ago.
We did.
Now with the initiation piece,
Mm-hmm.
what was the other question that was in the description? Who initiates? Hold up, Kate. Okay,
I'll
we got
tell
another
you.
comment.
Okay.
Could I lead my wife in temptation if I say no too often? Absolutely.
Lead my wife
Into temptation.
to be tempted, you mean?
If you say no too much, you open the door for absolutely.
Yeah,
Without a
for
doubt.
sure, for sure.
Without a doubt. You definitely open the door for some foolishness. And especially if you're saying no maliciously or out of
Out of
spite,
spite.
or you trying to punish them,
Yeah.
or you being
Yeah.
selfish, or especially under those circumstances, because now you're creating a wedge
Yep.
for the enemy to be like, oh well,
Yep.
he or she don't even want you like that.
That's
So
right.
hey, but Erica do.
That's right.
Erica at the gig, she feeling you every time. She
Mm-hmm.
telling you smell good, you look good. You know what I'm saying? She walking by, smiling at you, having conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought about you, brought you donuts, da da da. Yeah, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you opening the door without a doubt.
Yep, for sure.
Without a doubt.
The other question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Let me just say this too, because that also stirs up a whole bunch of controversy, because people fight back and say, well, what you saying now is that I gotta initiate and I gotta do this and I gotta have sex or else he or she is gonna go somewhere else. That's a really big argument right now. Matter of fact, I watched somebody with a large platform talk about this the other day.
I think though, if that is your response, then you need to ask yourself, why are you so against initiating? Why are you so against being intimate with your spouse? Like what is it? Like that means I gotta, I need to don't you want to? Don't you want to be intimate with your spouse? Don't you want to um keep the enemy at bay? Like
Yeah.
I don't
So
understand
yeah.
why that would be the response. Like, don't you want to be one with your spouse so that, not just so that temptation does not arise, but don't you want to? And if you don't, then that is what needs to be addressed. Why not?
So here's
don't
my
know.
thing, and this is I don't want to go down this road either. This is a whole nother show. But since this has come up, the temptation piece, we live in an interesting world right now, and everything is offensive,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to uh everybody wants to argue their position from a point of, not from a point of togetherness and unity and resolution, but from a point of rights.
Me.
Right? Here's the thing, and people are gonna fight me on this, what I'm about to say, but it is not wrong for you to be like, hey, I'm going to do everything my husband or wife needs or wants because I don't want to create any opportunity for those needs or wants to be met anywhere
somewhere
else.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Now, that I also agree that that should not be your sole reason.
It shouldn't be your sole reason, but it is a reason.
Absolutely. It shouldn't be your sole
Right.
reason for, you know, wanting to be intimate and wanting
Yeah,
to become one and wanting, you know, to, like I said, to become one or to become in or be intimate shouldn't be your sole reason, but it definitely needs to be a reason.
it needs to be a reason. And here's what people are not told: it should be a reason.
Yeah.
However, the other person should not leverage that
Hmm.
to their advantage. Like I can't be like, "Hey, babe, you know what I'm saying? You need to knock me down because old
If
girl
you
at the
don't,
gig is
yeah,
yeah." That no, that's of course not.
yeah.
But here's it, man. I gotta be careful what I say. So many people these days do not present these things in a way that lets me feel like they have common sense,
What? Why?
because that seems like common sense to me.
Yeah. Well,
You should be able to say, "Hey, listen, yes, you should be giving your spouse everything they want and need
mm-hmm.
within reason, of course." Like, and here's the where the within reason comes into play. You should be giving your spouse everything that they want and need
Mm-hmm.
because you want to create a bond with them.
Yeah.
You love them. You
Mm-hmm.
want them to feel good.
Yeah.
You want them to be you want them to feel desired. You
Yeah.
want them to feel fulfilled sexually, and you do not want anybody to come in and tempt them in any way.
Yeah.
The obvious common sense other side of that is you shouldn't leverage that.
Mm.
But you don't hear people say those two things in the same argument.
Yeah.
You just hear people harping, "Oh, well, you shouldn't just be giving them sex because they may go and look somewhere else."
Yeah. Not just because of that. No.
Man, this world is nuts, bro.
Let's get
I'm
these
telling you.
comments.
Yeah, don't get me on a tangent.
Men also change as we get older. We have less testosterone, while women, as they get older, they enter their peak. That needs to be discussed.
Now,
Now,
that's a good that's good. Let me ask you this, Gabriel. How do you feel like that plays out in the way of initiation? Do you feel like men initiate less
mhm.
because of that? Do you feel like there should be a conversation with their wives to be like, "Hey, babe, this is what I'm going through right now. Can you initiate more?" Tell me what you think about that.
And that's not, and that too is not always the case as far as women and their peak.
That's true.
I don't feel like that's always the case. I
It,
think
it yeah, it's
I
it's
think
general.
it's
It's general.
okay.
A woman might feel unattractive because we also physically change. Okay.
Yeah. I don't
I,
understand why there is somewhere else for needs to be met. It does happen though.
it does.
It does
Listen,
happen.
we can give you many instances of folk who sit across from us virtually, and that is where they're at.
Yeah,
Like
unfortunately. It
the
happens.
divide has gotten wider and wider and wider, and at some point, the divide gets wide enough that you're not even looking in the direction of your spouse
Mm,
because the divide is so wide.
you can't even see your
Your
spouse.
your view now is wide open to whatever walks into its path. And
Yeah.
often at the moment that you need it most, something else will walk into your path
Yep. Yep.
and you
Yep.
just get sucked away. You get swept away. We don't initiate like we used to. We need to express that to them. Yes. Because you said earlier men will initiate
Men
less.
will
And
initiate.
so
Is that typical? Men
I,
initiate less?
I don't know. I don't know because I don't have statistics on that.
Yeah.
But I agree that testosterone over time will lessen for some men, and that could have an impact
Okay.
on their desire,
Hmm.
right? So if we go back to what the original conversation is, we're talking about initiation, right? And initiating sex. So if your desire is low,
Hmm.
just organically you're not going to initiate that much because you
Correct.
don't you don't want it as much as you
Right.
used to,
Yeah.
right? So that's a whole nother topic though,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And how do you manage that? That's a
Right.
whole nother topic,
Yeah.
which again deserves a conversation,
Does.
right? Here's so we talked about how do you even it up. Um
Man, I wish Doc Parks was on here.
Doc is usually on here.
Mm-hmm.
He might jump on right before we about to go. Um here's how I feel as it relates to initiation. I feel very similar to what you said in the beginning, where you were like, there are some people who are like, it doesn't matter who initiates. It doesn't matter whether the initiation is uneven,
Mm-hmm.
as long as sex is happening
Mm-hmm.
and it's clear that we both want each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Now, the other side of that coin, though, is there are some people who are like, hey, I want you to initiate more, not because I have a problem with you not initiating, but because the just the sexiness and the
Of
allure of the draw
yeah.
is what I want to experience.
Yes. Yeah. 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 It's a turn on.
Like I want to feel like you coming up to me, in the nightclub or the bar or the grocery store and like, hey, what's happening? Kind of thing, right? So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's not a negative thing.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like, hey, listen, I want to be able to give and take as it relates to the foreplay component of
Mm-hmm.
what it feels like to initiate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to be able to articulate that to your
Mm-hmm.
spouse.
Yeah.
Like you got to be able to articulate that to your spouse. You got to be able to tell them what it is you and I'm gonna give away something that normally I would not give away. And I won't go deep into it because you got to get into group coaching in order to get the whole thing. But I'm going to give this little tidbit away. When you share something with your spouse that you need,
Mm-hmm.
you need to tell them why the need is important.
Mm-hmm.
You need to tell them how the need benefits the team. And you need to tell them how they can help facilitate meeting that need.
Yeah.
It can't just be like, hey, you don't initiate enough, you need to initiate more. No, it can't stop right there. Because it just sounds like you barking in order, or it
Yes.
sounds like you complaining and you
Right.
griping,
Right.
and don't nobody really want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
you might not get the response you're looking for because you left it open ended.
Mm-hmm.
So, babe, I would love it if you initiated more. Here's why that's important to me. That's important to me because, man, you remember that time when me and you was kind of looking at each other when we went on vacation and you was like, hey, you want to go upstairs? Like, you remember how that felt?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want you to do that because, I love that kind of give and take that we have when we, that exchange we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how that benefits us. Hey, you remember what happened afterward when we was at that vacation?
Yeah.
We need to be experiencing that all the time.
Yeah.
Now, here's how you can do that, right? Now you're not barking in order, you're not griping, you ain't complaining, you ain't nagging, you ain't doing nothing.
But you've still expressed
But you
your
still
need.
express what the need is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Y'all need to pay me for that.
I know, man.
I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'm not gonna say no more about that because you gotta get in a group coaching
That was
experience.
definitely a group coaching.
You gotta get in a group coaching experience in order to unpack that more.
Yeah.
But just know that don't just say you need something and just
leave it at that. Yeah.
There are ways to get everything you need in a relationship. There's a strategy. Trust us on that one. So listen, we're gonna get out of here.
Yes.
Thank you for those who were in the comments. I know this is not a topic typically that people may actually put themselves out there on. So
that's okay.
Nobody wants to be like, no, my spouse don't initiate. Yeah, I get it because your spouse might be watching. So it's cool. It's cool.
Okay. It's okay.
But just know, don't leave this to chance.
Yeah.
Don't leave this to chance because I'm telling you, just like we said in the beginning, where we see issues where this conversation never happens until something goes wrong, until somebody's upset,
right?
Until somebody's frustrated, until somebody's feeling some kind of way and is resentful to their spouse over something that they never even talked about to begin with, never flushed out to begin with.
Yeah.
Gabriel said the enemy. Hold on. Gabriel said the enemy's goal
is to keep either one to initiate. Yep. keep either one from initiating, I think is what he meant. Because he seeks to destroy marriage. Absolutely. Every time you are intimate, you grow every time you're intimate, you grow closer. Yeah, you are one. Sometimes we're so busy with life, we are both too tired. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Agree
All
100% with
facts.
all of that.
Yep. All
Yep.
facts. All facts. All
Yep.
facts. Shout out to Silas in the comments. I
Why
don't
did
go
you
outside, so I don't see what I'm missing out on.
why did you put that up there? What does that mean?
They don't they there's no chance in them, you know what I'm
I
saying? They don't
ordered
go outside.
DoorDash.
They don't go outside. So I get it. Listen, and but here's the thing. And I get that. And let me say this though. Sometimes it's not external.
Hmm?
When there's a gap, when the gap begins to widen because of whatever level of discrepancy that's going on in your relationship, sometimes the threat, quote unquote,
Mhm.
is not external.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's internal.
Mm.
So sometimes you just start thinking a certain way,
Yeah.
and that thought process begins to disconnect you further and further.
Yes.
So you may not ever go mess with Eric or Erica. You may not ever be tempted in that way, but
Mm.
in your mind, you will start to think things about your spouse
Yeah.
that will cause the
Yeah.
disconnect to be further and further and further apart, the gap to be widened more and more and more.
Yeah.
And it may show up in other ways. You may start spending a whole lot of time, like if it's
By
us, for
yourself
example, I may be
downstairs.
spend a whole bunch of time down here in the office
Yeah.
when I should be actually spending some quality time
Interacting.
with you.
Yeah.
Or I might be, whatever. I just might be engrossed in certain different things, or
Some people play video
yeah.
games.
So it's
Yeah.
there's but I'm with that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Yeah. Be safe. Order DoorDash. That's what's up. Be safe.
Yeah.
Be safe. Listen, we're gonna get out of here. The whole goal of these shows every Saturday night is what we say in the beginning of the show. Conversation is a catalyst for growth. Conversation is a catalyst for learning.
Learning,
Conversation is a catalyst for bonding.
bonding. Yeah.
Right. So listen, if you need to initiate more,
Initiate more.
tonight is a great opportunity for you to start.
Practice your initiating
Great
skills.
opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Try it out and see what happens. And if you get great results, then afterward tomorrow, have a conversation and be like, man, you know
That
what?
was great.
That was good.
Yeah.
You should probably do that more often.
Mhm.
Did you see the result you got last night? Okay. All right, fam. Listen, we're gonna get out of here. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. Um, and have conversations, folks.
Mhm.
Have conversations. Listen, if you're around on Thursdays, we would love to have you as a part of our Thursday show called Inside the Relationship. It is on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We would love to have you be a part of that. We talked about the group coaching thing, and right now we're doing a closed session
Mhm.
for a particular group of people, a closed cohort, but we will be opening up a public cohort right after
Mhm.
that. So just stay tuned. It'll probably be mid-September or so that we will open up another cohort of the Make Love Better 6-week group coaching experience. And it's a play on words. It's not just talking about sex. It's talking about making your love holistically better,
Better.
right?
Yeah.
So communicating on an extraordinary level, recognizing, managing, and recovering from conflict in record time,
Yeah.
and building holistic intimacy,
Mhm.
strong bonds. So if you're
We
interested
have
in
a
that,
great time in those
we have a great time in
cohorts.
those sessions. So we will
Mhm.
drop the link for that soon. Like I said, right now we're about to start next week a closed cohort for a
Mhm.
particular group of people who asked for it specifically. After we get that closed cohort kicked off, you'll get a date for an open cohort. So if that's something you would like to be a part of, or you know couples who would like to be a part of that, have them follow us wherever you're watching this right now,
Yes, so you don't miss the announcement
so you don't miss the announcement and
of
the
when the
date.
date
All
is.
right.
Yep.
All right. We're going to get out of here, family. Peace and blessings on you. Much love. May
Have
you
a great rest of the weekend.
have a great rest of the weekend, and may your initiation be successful. Amen. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, just before we go, between me and you, the couple of yous that are here, um, I'm gonna initiate.
Good night, guys.
Peace.